Welcome to A Double
Double
and Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 137 of A Double and Dice. And today we're going to talk about a con that we went to. We didn't
convention.
con anyone. Not that type of con.
No,
A convention con, yes. And this was a few weeks ago.
it'll be about a month ago by the time this
Yeah.
episode comes out.
Probably.
But we had already previously scheduled Petrus to be our guest on the last episode. And thanks again to Petrus for coming out and hanging out with us for over an hour.
Yeah. No con to talk.
It was awesome.
So yeah, this one's called Breakout Con, which is in Toronto. And Jocelyn, you can tell us a little bit more about it.
Absolutely. So Breakout Con, funnily enough, I've lived in, around Toronto my entire life, had never heard of this convention until Ben Scott from the UK was here in Toronto, and he told Rob and I about it. We didn't go to it until 2024 for the first time. So this is our second time going. But the first time I'd ever heard of this convention was when Ben told us about it. It's always the same weekend as Toronto Comic Con, and it's around the same time as March break here in Canada. So there's lots of kids looking for stuff to do, things like that. But basically, Breakout is a tabletop gaming convention held in downtown Toronto. So from their website, it says Breakout has been the best place for tabletop gamers of all kinds to get their game on and hang out with their community since its inception. A team of gaming community leaders from across Toronto came together to create Breakout, a convention made by gamers for gamers. And the first event was in 2016. The convention grows every year. It includes a bring and buy auction, an expansive board game library, exclusive Dungeons and Dragons modules, epic amounts of RPGs, and much more. Every year they try for new content, such as panels by industry insiders, games run by guest designers, and new game events like a mega game. Whether you're new to the scene or a veteran player, Breakout has something for you to try and old favorites to return to. So since 2016, I guess, is when this started. So it would have been a couple of years old when I heard about it from Ben, and then there was like that global pandemic thing. And we finally got ourselves organized and headed over there in 2024. And then this year we went again. And then we said, hey, Kim, you should come to Breakout.
Yep, I heard about it through Board Game Geek, funny enough.
And she did.
And then I was like, yeah, I could probably swing this one. So
it is like many board game conventions. There's like an official program time of sort of standard hours of, let's call it like 9 to 8 or something like that, 10 to 6, whatever. But there are games that run kind of all night long. And it's basically like 24/7 gaming in the hotel where it's held. It's usually held at the Sheridan Center downtown, which is right by the Eaton Center, the big shopping mall downtown. Very easy to access from the Toronto Island Airport or from Union Station if you take the train, or even from Pearson Airport. If you fly into the Toronto Pearson Airport, you can just take the Up Express downtown to get down there. So, which is a train that connects the upper airport, the big airport, the international airport, to the downtown core. So pretty easy to get to. Lots of parking nearby, just, how much you want to pay. And they do have a convention rate for the hotel. It's a nice hotel.
mm-hmm.
You stayed there, Kim. So
Yep.
Do you want to comment on the hotel?
Yeah, we stayed at the hotel. Made my life so much more easier.
Yeah. Well, because you took Dave and Noah with you.
Yeah, so Dave and Noah came. We took the go down, so we didn't drive down, so we didn't pay for parking. So we just had to pay for the go, which is much cheaper than parking. Because
the go
was
is
also free.
The commuter train here in Toronto with the GO Transit. Yeah.
The nice train.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice hotel. It's the same hotel that also Matt stayed at when he went to do his Lorcana tournament last year.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty nice. Very busy. It's a busy hotel.
It's a very busy hotel. It has a lot of convention space, both below ground, because it's Toronto, a lot of things go into the underground. So there's below ground levels, and then there's also the upper level. So Breakout was being held on the upper level. There's like an open atrium with a cafe and a restaurant and shops and things like that, like you have sometimes in hotels. And then you go up it's probably like a at least 2-flight escalator.
Yeah, about that.
And that's where Breakout is. Most of Breakout is on that second level. tons of role-playing games going all the time. You saw that, Kim, when you came in to see me and
Yeah,
Rob.
it was a big room.
Huge room, lots of role-playing games going on. There was a sort of like, they have like little tables set up in corners and hallways for vendors, and then they have other rooms for panels, and they had the Catan championships, I think, were there.
Yeah, some kind of thing was
happening
on.
there. There was a couple of like, Canadian championship events for certain types of board games. And then there's a playtest hall, which basically is just like the end of a hallway, where if you've got something to playtest, you can organize to be participating there, and anyone can just walk in, and if they've got space available, they'll drop you down and playtest their games that they're trying to get sorted. And then the massive board game library, where they have tons and tons of board games, and you can just check them out. You have to hand your ID in as collateral, and then
Really?
And then when you return the game, you get your ID back. And they have new games, and they have well-played games, and they have people that are looking to teach you how to play, and they have demos and all kinds of stuff going on in there. It's a very, very busy room. And you can just bring your own games to play there too. Like, some people just bring their own games and use that space. And the convention starts on a Friday, Friday morning, and it runs all weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we just went on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So Rob and I decided not to stay. We missed the convention rate for the hotel. We probably could have done it anyway, but we are relatively local, and we don't have a little kid to haul with us.
He's not so little anymore.
He's not so little, but he still requires supervision.
It's true, yes. Especially downtown.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, we decided just to drive in for the day, and we had booked a role-playing game, and that was the only thing we'd booked, because the thing with role-playing games is they take like 3 or 4 hours. So when you book a role-playing game, like, it's most of your day. So we planned to come in the morning, find parking, grab a coffee, meet up with Kim. We did a little bit of wandering, was kind of the plan, that we were going to do our game, and that was kind of what our plan was. And Kim, what was your plan for the day?
Play games.
Play games. All the games.
And I painted. I forgot that.
Yeah. So you booked a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kim booked a bunch of games, which we'll talk about. And so we ended up meeting up with you in the morning. We saw you, and we didn't see Dave and Noah until later.
Till dinner time.
Yeah. So we met up with you in the morning, and then we did a bit of wandering. We got our badges. And Rob and I had a thing happen. So we had signed up for our RPG that we wanted to participate in. We'd gone through the list, and we picked out one. We picked out one called Shadow Dark. So if you haven't heard of Shadow Dark, basically it's a standard sort of role-playing game. It uses the standard type of role-playing dice, like D&D type dice. Some of the rules in it are very similar to Dungeon Crawl Classics. Some of them are similar to Dungeons and Dragons. But if you've played any of those types of role-playing games, then you're probably going to be fine. But the cool thing about it, what's sort of little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's little niche, it's little quirk, is that when you light a torch or a lantern, you're in real time. So the dungeon master, the game master, will actually put a timer on the table and say, okay, you have a torch, you have 1 hour until that light goes out. And if you don't find another light source before the end of the hour, then you're in the dark, and there is no night vision. Nobody has night vision in this game. So then you're fumbling around in the dark trying to do your thing. So what it does is it really forces you to, I don't want to say play faster, but make faster decisions. Because Kim, when you and I play role-playing games on, Friday nights when we're together with our DCC gang, sometimes we spend quite a long time talking about what we're going to do before we actually do it. When you're going to run out of light in 60 minutes, you have to be faster. You have to make quick decisions. So we had signed up for this game. It was called the Hogtown Heist. We were very excited about it. It looked like it was probably like a homebrew, like somebody had created this game, and based on the Shadow Dark system. And at the last minute, once they closed registrations for events, So pre-registration, you had to wait until you got to the event to sign up for stuff. We got a notification that our game was canceled. And we didn't have an opportunity to get a refund anymore. And we're like, well, it'll still be fun. We'll go into the city, whatever. So we'll go into the city. We'll find something else to play. So we get there and we go into the RPG room and we're looking at all the things that are coming up. There's always things to get in on. So anyway, I said, we were supposed to be in this game at, 12. It was a Shadow Dart game, Hogtown Heist, whatever. Because there were two, versions. Two game masters that were supposed to be running it. And one of them was supposed to be still on the list, and then the other one got canceled. So I don't know why they didn't just move us into the other one, but whatever, gaming convention.
Unless it was full.
Well, sure enough, it wasn't full. So we got to sign up for the same game that we had initially signed up for and got canceled. So we did that. We signed up, and then we met back up with you, and we did some wandering.
Yeah.
We gave you the lay of the land. Helped you find all of your rooms.
Yeah.
Which were all pretty close together.
Yeah, they were. They were not far apart at all.
Yeah. So what was your first impression of the gaming floor?
It's quite spread out. Yeah. It's not like a whole big floor, people thinking that. It's not an open floor.
If you're
it's like you walk and there's like rooms. You walk down the hallway and there's rooms, or there's something off to the corner side or something like that. Like painting was off to the corner side by the escalator. You know what I mean?
Think of it like you're in a hotel and there's a bunch of conference rooms.
Yeah.
But because like typically when you think of a big board gaming convention, like what comes to mind for me is Gen Con. Gen Con's in a massive convention hall. There's no hotel there. It's a convention hall. And it's one of those convention halls that basically is like this massive empty square. And then you can divide it up into different sections with room dividers and stuff like that. That's not what this is. This is like the level of the hotel with all the different boardrooms on it. And the hotel's quite old, so it's got these big sweeping spaces between things. You're walking around and everything's kind of divided up. Mm-hmm. Right? So, but yeah.
But it's not huge like you're taking forever to walk to one place.
No, it's not huge at all.
No.
Not huge at all.
But decent.
And, yeah, definitely. One thing that I found interesting is that they still had mask policies in certain places.
Yeah, like when you had to go into the auction room,
the buy and sell
mask. Yeah,
and I had forgotten that in 2024 we had made sure we had masks with us, but I had forgotten to bring a mask this year because there's so few people that are consistently doing mask policies anymore that I don't always have one with me, and so there were certain places that I couldn't go into. There were certain panels that were mask only, and there was the board game buy and sell that was mask only, so you had to get a mask in order to do that. They did have masks available that you could get at the front desk if you needed one. So yeah, but that was something that I did find a little bit surprising that they were still doing that. I did buy some cool stuff.
Yeah, I didn't buy anything.
So I bought I came across this woman and she had really nice gaming mats, like tabletop gaming mats, like if you're playing a card game. And she had this really cool looking one. She had designed it and had them printed, and it was based on Star Wars Unlimited. So I picked that up. It's really, really pretty. And she also had, I haven't done it yet, but it's hilarious, 3D printed dice for RPG games. So basically they're on a flat panel and you pop them out and you put them together. She has instructions for them and everything. So I bought 2 sets of those. So you can actually just take these role-playing dice and assemble them with like snapping them together, which was kind of neat. So I'm excited to do that. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I thought I might try and like record it or something saying, look at this cool thing that I saw when I was at Breakout Con. So I bought that, and then there was a ceramics person there, which was kind of cool. And I ended up buying this little ceramic flower, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. I thought I might use it as like a spoon rest or something. But when we were in Portugal, when Rob and I were in Portugal over Christmas, I had bought these beautiful little espresso cups that were ceramic, and I brought them home. And I was like, I wonder. And I put my espresso cup on top of the flower, and it fits perfectly as if it was made for that. And the colors are very similar and everything. So I could also use it as like a saucer for my espresso cup.
There you go.
So, yeah. That's
nice.
Basically all the things I bought.
I honestly thought I was going to buy a board game and walk in with a board game, but it didn't happen.
Yeah. We did do a walkthrough of the board game room, the buy and sell, before they got it up and running, before it had started, and before they were sort of managing the mask stuff. But once the board game thing started. Now, that's a really cool thing, too, that they did. So the board games had 3 different prices on them. I don't know if this is normal in other types of buy and sell type situations, but basically there's a price at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. So the longer you wait, in most cases, the prices goes down.
But if it's popular, it's gone by like...
Exactly. So it's like, do you buy it at $50 or do you hold out till 5 o'clock, hope that it's still there for $20, right? So it was really interesting, and it was very, very popular section.
Yeah, when I went in there quite at the last minute, a lot of stuff was gone.
Yeah, I bet. Because you went in right at the end.
Like literally before it closed.
It closes at 6, I think. So
yeah. So I didn't have enough time to really look through it all at the beginning. No. Because I was back to back to back almost.
Well, and they were still setting it up too, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's a huge, huge conference room that they have that set up in. So
I definitely want to try that maybe next time.
Yeah. And then they had mini painting classes, which you did.
I did. My first ever miniature painting.
That's super cool. And they were WizKids miniatures.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think they were from, the one I did was from D&D was a hell wasp or something like that.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
Maybe you can use that in the picture for this episode.
I got to get the wings on though. And I didn't really do the wings very nicely. I'm very upset with myself because I think I was rushing towards the end.
Because time was running out, right?
Yeah. And it was almost 6 o'clock and it was dinner time. And I was just like, I did this terrible. So I'm thinking to maybe like, if I can wash it out.
Or just paint over it.
No, because how the wings are on it, it's not like, you know, when you look at a miniature, it's like gray before you paint it, right? Mm-hmm. The wings are not. They're transparent.
Oh.
So to make it look like wings, right? So you don't want to put a heavy color on it. You want to put like almost a like so light, like you can still see the transparency. So I started that with one of the colors and then I rushed it and I made it blobby with the other ones and it didn't blend properly. So I'm figuring if I can, I'll wash it out.
And if you have any tips for Kim on how to dissolve wash the paint, you should also reach out to Will, Kim.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's like a Warhammer guy.
Okay.
Will's he's Kim's local game store owner. He's not mine
not yours anymore.
Not
I haven't
so
been there in a
me.
while though.
Yeah, but he knows you are. If you're there or if you message him on Facebook or something, because he does he's a authorized Warhammer person and he's got all kinds of paints and he's been into it himself. So he might even have some tips for you on how to deal with that. But if anyone's got tips, let him know.
That'll help. I just gotta finish the wings pretty much. And I mean, it's not messy. I did find one oopsie spot that I didn't even realize.
No one's gonna notice it.
But, it's noticeable. But yeah, if I can get the wings done before I have to drop this episode, it'll be the picture.
Cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to do mini painting.
Yeah.
I just have never been able to get it organized.
It's if you have the time, because I find that you're so into it. It's like a calming thing, right? Like how people do certain things to calm you. Like that's so calming to do it that you lose track of time.
Yeah.
So, and especially if you want it done like nice, like proper, you're going to spend more time, right? Mm-hmm. So I found that's why if I had time, I probably would have done it properly, right?
Yeah.
And I felt rushed to finish, which I probably didn't have to finish it.
No.
But
you got to take everything home anyway.
Yeah. You pay for a kit. You pay for like the kit, which comes with paint with it. So I do have paint I can use. The colors you're supposed to use for it.
Yeah, and that is something that's an extra cost over and above your badge because you're buying a kit that goes with it. It's like a learn to paint.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
none of the other things that you played had a cost associated with them.
No.
No, same for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been doing a bunch of talking, Kim. What games did you play?
So I played 3 games. I'm going to tell you my expectations for the games, talk about the game, and tell you what I thought about it after.
Okay.
Okay, so I played 3 games. The first one I played was River Market, which I'll say that was a medium expectation. Okay, I was excited, but not too excited about it. Let's just put it that way. This company that makes this game is more geared to kids. So it's very cutesy. Their games, like very creature animals, like bunnies and like foxes and things like that. Very cute little meeples, cutesy. Okay, I own a few games of theirs, which I did not realize until I was there. Which of none I've played. So
it's sitting on your shelf of opportunity.
Yes. So they're geared to more like kids, I guess, right? But I mean, adults can play it too. It's not like it's so kiddie. So this one's called River Market. Pretty much what it is, it's a rondel kind of game. A rondel is like I would say like a spinning wheel.
Okay.
Right. Like something's going on like a rotation. So their rondel in this game is like a floating market. Okay, so there's like 4 markets that you start the game with. You gain resources, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to build 4 markets of yourself based on cards. They're all cards. And you have your starting cards, and then as you play a card, you have to play a card on your turn. Then you pick up a card at the end of your turn. They're either things that could help you or your actual build, like you're building a market. To build a market, you need to gain resources. So you go around the floating market trying to gain resources. If people build a market, they put it down in the market, so it's kind of gets a bigger floating market. And then if you land on that, you get the resource. Whoever owns that market could get the resource too. Like there's 2 different sections for the owner and non-owner. And then you build stuff based on resources. So you're kind of doing that round by round. Once someone hits 4 markets, I believe, the game ends and you have 2 more turns. Okay. And then it's pretty much victory points at the end of the game. So this game is very in prototype. Like the cards weren't even cards. They were like pieces of paper with just written stuff, no art on like a sleeve. Mm-hmm. And then resources they use, your cubes, like your colored cubes or whatever to represent this is carrot, this is wood. You know what I mean? Like brown is wood.
Yeah.
So it's that prototype. Like it's like not even like done.
Right.
The character meeples, I think they use from a different game. So it was fun. I did enjoy it. So my expectation was a little higher than going into it towards the end. I believe this one's coming on Kickstarter this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it hasn't. It's not even out. None of the games I played are out yet. So that was the first one.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a question?
Should we go back and forth?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I talked a little bit about the Shadow Dark RPG that Rob and I had signed up for. It was like 12 o'clock or something we had it signed up for. So we get there, and it turns out that the person who was supposed to be judging or game mastering our event was still there. I guess because they didn't have enough signups, they canceled one of the events. So again, I don't know why they didn't just move us over, but they didn't. And then the other people that had signed up for the event didn't show up. So, yeah, which is always a shame, and I always feel bad for
because
game
it
masters.
Got canceled.
Well, the other one wasn't canceled. So anyway,
we didn't know. I don't know.
Irregardless of all that, so we get there, and the 2 guys are running it. So the one guy becomes a player, the other guy's running it, but he's kind of helping with the running as well. And what they ended up doing was they didn't actually have Hogtown Heist ready. So they've been writing it, and they've been working on it, but it wasn't ready in time for the event. So what they did instead was they ran a pre-generated funnel. And if you're not familiar with Dungeon Crawl Classics, or you haven't heard Kim and I talk about that before, it's the main role-playing game that we play. And a funnel is how you get into Dungeon Crawl Classics, and they're using that in Shadow Dark as well, which is basically you're a peasant, for lack of a better term. You're a nobody. Mm-hmm. You don't have any powers. You barely have any weapons. You have no skills. You don't have anything really aside from, whatever wits you've got about you and whatever stats you have and whatever you can sort of scramble up. And the idea is in DCC, you have 4 peasants that you're running concurrently as you're running through this game. But in Shadowdark, what you do is you have a stack of them. So you're playing one character, and then when that character dies, the next character in your stack becomes your character.
Okay.
So that's how it was run. So I think I died 3 times. And then at whatever point you, like, the judge would find a spot to insert you pretty quickly if you died. So I think I died 3 times. I think Rob died once or twice. Anyway, there was the guy that was supposed to be running the one event, and then one other person that was part of the show. So there was 4 of us playing the game. It was super fun, and it turns out that Rob tangentially knows these people because he's in the same Discord as them. They call it the Gong Farmers Discord for role-playing games in Toronto, and they play at, I can't think of the name of the store. I've been there, Sword and Board, I think it's called.
Okay.
Anyway, I've been there. We haven't played games there. It's sort of in the West End, Toronto, and that's where they typically play DCC and such. So these guys were part of that sort of regular at Sword and Board, and that's what they were getting themselves into. So they're still working on Hogtown Heist. So I do hope that they come back and finish that, and we can try it, because I really enjoyed the Shadowdark gaming system. And Rob did pick it up last year when we were at Gen Con, so he has the book, and we could play it. So I said to him that we should probably try a Shadowdark at some point. Came in our Friday night games.
Yeah.
So anyways, a lot of fun. We did take a break about halfway through so we could go get a coffee and use the washroom. It took about 3-ish, just over 3 hours to play. And typically with a funnel, because you're trying to move fast, and especially with Shadowdark, because you've got that whole thing where the light source only lasts an hour, what do you call it? The game moves pretty quickly, and you're just trying to get to your end goal. So basically what happened with us was we woke up with nothing, with no idea of where we were, how we got there, or how long we'd been there. And then we were sort of thrown into this immediate battle of trying to figure out what was going on. And we were in a place that didn't feel quite like home. And we found out later that we had been like put through a portal. So I don't remember the name of the funnel, but it was super fun. And I would recommend the Shadowdark system to anyone who likes RPGs. It's pretty rules light. It's not super complex, like Dungeons Dragons 5e or whatever version they're doing now. There's a new version after that, Beyond or something. It gets pretty complex. You're like multi-classing and doing all kinds of crazy things. This is a lot more like sort of beginning Dungeons and Dragons, early role-playing games, a lot less rules, a lot more fun and creative. And I don't want to say that Dungeons and Dragons is not creative. That's not what I'm trying to say. But less rules and more flexibility is how I would put it. So it was a lot of fun. Kim came by to see us.
Yes, I think I was in between.
Yeah.
In between times.
So what's your next game, Kim?
The next one, which was pretty much the table next to me over, was a game called How to Save a World. Let's just say, I don't even know how to talk about this game. Okay. It's, so what it is I don't even know what you are, a scientist or something. I don't know. Anyway, so you're on this planet. It's not Earth. Okay. So you're on this planet far from Earth, and there's an asteroid coming.
Okay.
And you're pretty much trying to work towards like saving yourself from this astronaut.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 3 plans in place that everybody kind of works towards, even though it's not a work towards game. It's more like whoever wins at the end by victory points is what it is, really. Okay. But anyways, you're trying to work towards these plans by doing things to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like give to the plan or whatever, right? So the plan's like you build a shield, or you have a laser that like lasers the asteroid, or you pretty much evac. If things are going bad, you just evacuate from the planet. This game is very complicated because there's too much going on for me.
Okay.
It looked cool. It's very colorful. It looked great. Like, it's a resource, so you have like 5 different resources that you're trying to get and manage. You have cards that give you resource, but also give you like things you can do. You're moving around the board, so you have ships. Was it ships? I think it was ships. That you're moving back and forth, and like either collecting resources, doing things to help the plans out. Yeah, it was hard to understand how this game played. You know what I mean? Like, there was so much going on, like so many different things and so many different things on your board. Like, there was half the board I didn't even pay attention to of things you can do. Quite didn't understand a few things. Anyway, so played with 3 other people, so 4 people, and I don't still know how we won the game. So somehow we made it towards the middle-ish, where the asteroid was maybe halfway to getting to the planet, and then something happened with one of the plans, and I don't know, and supposedly we won. So I had high expectations for this game. Like, I thought I was going to really enjoy it, because it's like worker placement, kind of building some cards, deck cards, things like that. No, definitely not my game. I did not enjoy it.
No.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was too complicated for me of what was happening. I didn't even know. I guess I said I didn't even know how we won. Yeah, that was that game. How to Save a World. So this one, I think, was a Kickstarted.
Okay.
I think it's coming or mailed out soon to people. So you couldn't get copies at the con.
Cool.
They didn't have copies yet. So it would have to be like a late pledge.
Yeah.
To get it. So yeah, that was that game.
All right. So Rob and I, after we finished our RPG, we had sort of made plans with Kim and Dave and Noah to go for dinner. So we still had some time to kick around, and we'd done most of our wandering at that point. So we headed over to the playtest area to see if we could find something to playtest, but everybody was pretty occupied. So we went into the board game library, which was quite busy. We found a spot to sit, and Rob said, "Go pick a game, any game. We'll play something." So I went up to the area, and in the board game library, they also had this play to win section, which was basically newer games that had just been opened for this event. And when you played them, you signed yourself up. And if you were there on Sunday, they were going to do a draw of all of the people that had played the game. And one of those people would get to take the game home. Now, we weren't going to be there Sunday, but I saw a game that looked interesting. It's a Stone Mare game, which is the company that makes Wingspan, and it was called Stamp Swap. And it's very new. It's just recently come out. So I was like, well, the art looks really cool, and I like Wingspan, which is a Stone Mare game, so let's give this a try. So Stamp Swap is actually designed by Paul Solomon, who designed Honeybuzz, Kim.
Yep, okay.
And also a game called Genotype, which I don't know. So it brings stamp collecting to life on tabletops, and you draft from a public pool of face-down and face-up tiles, along with some bonus cards, and then divide them into groups. You'll select one group from one other player, keep a group of yours, and then you organize your growing collection each round and score one of 4 goals. So there's a lot of moving parts in this game, and when we first were trying to follow the directions, there was no one to teach us. We just kind of had to figure it out ourselves. We definitely played it wrong. It's a 3-round game. It's for 1 to 5 players, so you can play it by yourself because there's a solo mode. But basically what happens is there's certain stamps, like you pull these cards that tell you how many stamps and bonus cards you're supposed to select. And we were only selecting the face-up ones, not the face-down ones. So we didn't have, I guess you should have too many things, and we didn't have enough things, is basically how it worked. So, I mean, it was fine. We figured it out. But there's 4 goals, like it said. And each round you can score a different goal. So the goal could be like all of your stamps have the same color, or They all are rare or whatever. There's different goals you can choose from. So you have 3 goals, one for each round. You can score them in any order you want, but once you score that goal, you can't score it again. And then you're putting your stamps on your stamp collecting notebook, which is basically your playmat, and you sort of organize them on your playmat, and then you get points for how they're placed on there. So in that way, it reminded me a little bit of I think it was called Art Society. Have you ever played Art Society, Kim?
No.
I think it's
Never
called
even
Art
heard of it.
Society. Yeah, so Art Society is a similar type board game in that you're placing the artwork that you have picked onto your wall. You're making like a collage wall, but there isn't the extra level of different rounds and trading and things like that. So anyway, it's really pretty. It's a very pretty game. According to the website, it's a 20 to 60 minute game length. I'm going to say that Rob and I probably spent close to an hour on it because we were reading the directions and trying to figure it out. I liked it. I would play it again. I don't know that I liked it as much as Wingspan, but I think once I have tried playing it properly with enough of the stamps and cards available to us, that I might have a better understanding of it, and it might be even nicer. So I do like that it has a solo mode, and you can play it just by yourself, or you can play it in like I'm always looking for 2-player games because Rob and I often just play with each other because we don't have other people local to us that are playing board games. So I like that anything that I can find with a 2-player mode, and this one had a pretty decent 2-player mode. It wasn't sometimes if you're playing a 2-player game, sometimes it can be very difficult. Sometimes games are really designed for more people. I think this one will be more fun with more people, but anyway, it's very pretty. The game was fun. You're doing artsy stuff by just organizing the stamps on your playmat, and also trying to like strategically win goals, and then you score it at the end by victory points based on the goals that you've achieved. So yeah, it was fun. And then we turned it back in, and I got my ID back.
Did you actually finish the game?
Yeah, we finished playing a round, and then once we finished playing the round, I realized that we had played with not enough of the stamps and bonus cards, but that's fine. We didn't. At that point, it was getting close to 5 o'clock or 5:30, and that was when we came over to find you in the painting area, Kim.
Yep. That game kind of almost reminds me of a game called Canvas, which I think you guys would enjoy. It's artsy fartsy.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually building art out of different translucent things. Maybe I'll bring that one for board game day that we actually did schedule.
I have played Canvas before.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and we played it online, so it was kind of awkward. But
okay, yeah.
We had friends that had the collection, and they were helping us play it. I think you take an art card or make a painting.
Yeah, you're trying to make a painting. Yeah, I think I have all 3 of them.
We played a version of this or something like it, or maybe we just talked about it. But either way, I've seen it before. It looks cool, and I would love to try it if I haven't tried it already.
Yeah, it's a neat concept how they do the actual cover or the box, because it's actually art that goes together, the 3 of them, and you can actually put it on your wall. So
yeah, I think we might have done it once, but I don't know what version and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, definitely bring that for board game day.
Yeah,
we finally, I think, have scheduled tentatively for June.
Yes, we have. We figured out a date. Yeah, I wouldn't bring all of it. I'd probably just start with the base because I wouldn't even know all the other expansions. Cool. My last game.
Yeah.
This was a night game, so this happened after dinner. I had gone back to play this game. It's called Rune Beast's Deck Building Game. This is not out. He's hoping that it would be out Kickstarter, I think, this year, towards the end of the year. But so we got to actually play with the designer.
Nice.
for this one. So this one is like any other typical deck building game. You're building your deck, right? So you're getting cards and building your deck, and it goes into your discard, and you draw up to 7 in this game, and so forth and so forth. Now, the interesting twist with this one, which is very Pokemon influenced, okay, this game. So you have all your creatures that come out in the deck, and to get them, you know how usually like you would buy a card, right, per se. This one is you actually have to battle it to get the card.
Oh, okay.
So that each card of them have like a health, I guess. And what you're doing is you have a D20, not a spin down one like you ones you use in like RDCCs or whatever, right? You roll a D20 and you're trying to beat their health, and that's how you gain the card.
Right.
Or there's another section where you just pay. I think there's on all the cards too. It's like a cost. You pay that cost and you get those ones if you don't want to battle. But they're like it depends, right? Some of them can be really good if you battle them, but the other ones, if you're just paying for it, could be just mediocre, right? And then as you gain the cards, you're also looking out for when like they're. I'm gonna use Pokemon terms just to help.
Sure.
Evolve the creature.
Right.
Okay. So there's ones in there that you can evolve it. So when you get a creature, you like kind of put it on your board. Some of them go in your deck, some of them don't. And then if you get an evolve one, you need to like build up like certain colors or whatever you need for it to kind of evolve it into that. And then it goes into your deck once you evolve it. So you kind of play doing this in 3 rounds, and after 3 rounds, you do a battle.
Okay.
So we had 4 players. So you draw back up to your 7 cards, and whatever 7 cards you have in your hand is what you're going to be using to battle. So what happens is there's like this like event card that comes up, and you know in Pokemon they have fire type and ice type and water type and stuff like that. So very similar of those symbols. So you gain bonuses if one of your creatures is that thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So you like have your card which you're going to battle face down, and then everybody flips up and then sees who beats who and whatever. And if you beat everybody or whatnot, you get like little victory points. Okay, so 1st to 10 wins. So then after that happens, you play another 3 rounds, and then you do another battle, and in 3 rounds, another battle, pretty much until you get to 10 points.
Cool.
For a person to get 10 points. So the art's cute. I like the art. Some of them are like, hey, that looks like this Pokemon, right? So
yeah, so that's a concern.
It doesn't look exactly like it, but it resembles. Okay, so, but he'll get away with it. It's not like it doesn't look like the Pokemon, right?
Right.
But his was fairly much almost done. I think it was just rule book he was working on. I really enjoyed it because it's a very different concept to a deck building game. Because it's like battling, and then you have to like, evolve your creatures to make them better for battle, right? Because you start with like little meh. So how it actually works, like a whole bunch of different creatures in like a deck of 3 or something. So you're kind of almost drafting your first hand. So you pick 2 creature types, and then someone else picks 2 creature types, and someone else picks 2 creature types, and that's your starting hand. Of those colors or creatures that you have. So you start like drafting what your starting is going to be. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm curious to see if it makes it out. Because he's very, he's local. I think he's also the owner of the publisher company that would publish his game. Okay. I think he had one other one before. So I'm hoping it's a success because it was a fun game.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, and those are all my games I played.
I didn't play any more games.
Then we had dinner.
We had dinner. Yeah. So the Sheridan downtown. So I mean, Downtown Toronto, I would say, is kind of going through a bit of a change since the pandemic. There used to be lots of options, and then a lot of things closed up shop, and then they're only open in evenings and sometimes on weekends, and sometimes not even on the weekends, because the Sheridan is it's very close to the financial district, which is very much a weekday place. But last year when we went, we had identified this place and it worked out pretty good. We actually went there with Matt when he came for Lorcana. Was I don't remember what it's called, the food hall or something.
Chef's table. Anyway, it's literally right across the road from the Sheridan, and basically it's picture a bunch of different booths of different types of food, all in one sort of area. So it's not food trucks, it's like food counters. So there's all kinds of different stuff in there. There's a Greek place, there's a couple of different Asian places, there's bars, there's cafes, there's chocolate, there's cookies, there's burgers, Indian.
There's chicken, there's Indian, like everything you could think of, little food stalls. So Rob and I actually ate there for lunch and for dinner. Because it was easy, right? It was close. And so we went over for lunch, and for lunch I had the Greek, which is what I've typically had there. So it's like the third time I've had the Greek. But then for dinner I wanted to try something else. So I tried the Grateful chicken, which is a Grateful Dead themed fried chicken. So I had that in like a wrap. It was really good. So we went in, and Rob and I went over and got a table, which was good because it was getting really busy by the time 6 o'clock was rolling around, and I think you guys got there shortly after that. So there was only like one table left that could sit the five of us. Yes. And we each sort of took turns, one of us holding the table, everyone else went and got their food orders, and we all got a little bit of whatever we wanted, and we had a drink and we hung out and chatted with Noah, and we saw our friend.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Eric Lang. So Dice Masters designer Eric Lang, for those that don't know, is local to Toronto. He lives in Toronto. So I saw him at Breakout last year. I didn't speak to him. He was busy. And then we saw him there this year. We saw him on the escalator, and then he came over for dinner with a bunch of people. There was a great big crew of them. They managed to snag a big long table, and they came over and had dinner. So we saw him there. But he's like, for me, he's like a board game celebrity.
When I was talking to this was after dinner that I went to play the deck building game, and the guy, mm-hmm. the designer guy, said he couldn't make it out to the designer dinner.
Okay.
So I was wondering if it was that.
It could have been. It did look like a lot of people from Breakout were there, so it could have been that.
Yeah, because he was, I think he had to do a panel.
Yeah.
To talk or something.
But I like that type of food hall, chef's table, whatever it's called, because there's something for everybody, and you can all just get what you want. You don't all have to decide on what type of food you're having, and because it's sort of like counter service, like you go to the counter, you order your food, you bring it over, and you sit down, then you're good to go. So there was a bar that was serving alcohol, so we could get a drink. There was different types of food and all that sort of stuff. So, and then easy access to washrooms. So yeah, it was good. We got to hang out. It was good to see Dave and Noah. I mean, I used to see Dave and Noah a lot, but Rob didn't. But now that I'm out here, I don't see them as often. So yeah, your kid's pretty cute. You've got a nice husband.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, so we did that, and then you headed back for your last game that you just talked about, and I think Dave and Noah headed back to the hotel room.
Yep, sleep time.
And
they hung out downtown. So
yeah, and then Rob and I went and we got our car and headed home. So it was a long day for us. We were gone like 12 hours. And in hindsight, we had said we probably should have booked the hotel. Just it would have been nice to not have to rush back and travel, and all that sort of stuff. We would have still driven and whatever, parked at the hotel, but it would have been nice to have not had to rush back and could have just chilled out a little bit. But next
wish there was one other game I wanted to play, but they only had it on Friday. It was the fin span to wingspan to rope span. The fish one. I'm still curious about it, but yeah, they only had it the Friday, and I'm sure it probably booked up pretty quick.
Yeah, and some things book up really quick, but then you can still just like other board game conventions, like show up if you don't have anything else scheduled, and you might be able to get in because someone doesn't show up, like our
Yeah.
RPG.
Yeah.
There was lots and lots of RPGs being played, like I mentioned, and always lots of room for different, and every different type of RPG was being played. Like RPGs I've never even heard of were being played, so lots to choose from. Yeah, I mean, maybe next year we'll go for 2 days. Maybe we'll do Saturday and Sunday, and then we can do multiple RPGs. I can't do more than one role-playing game in a day
Because it's so long.
It's long, and they're so for myself, I'm only speaking on behalf of me. This is my thing. I find role-playing games to be a lot of fun, but I also have a lot of social anxiety about playing role-playing games with people I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm playing a game, like a board game's fine, it's like an hour, right? But a role-playing game is like 3 or 4 hours, and you have to try to be in character and do what your character would do, and you're in front of people that you don't know, and you're maybe playing a game system that is unfamiliar to you. And I really enjoy it, but sometimes it takes me a little while to get sort of out of my own head and into the game. And I'm getting better at it, but I do find that like because it's 4 hours, it's a long time, and you're really sort of focused on the goal of achieving whatever needs to be achieved in the game. And at the end of it, I need a break. So some people could play role-playing games all day, and our friend Charlie, like he used to play this like 12-hour role-playing game at Gen Con.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they have like breaks. You break for lunch and dinner and stuff. That would just I couldn't do it. Like all the power to you if that's your thing. Good luck, have fun.
I feel like
but
it's
for me it's too
day.
much.
It's a waste. 12 hours is half the day or most of the day.
Well, I mean, if it's what you like, then
That's
great.
true.
Right? So for me, I typically say, okay, I'm going to do one RPG for 3 to 4 hours, and then I can do like a board game or a game of HeroClix or a game of Dice Masters or a game of Star Wars or something like that. Or I'll play some board games in the board game library or whatever. Like that's how it works for me. Or I could paint. That would be something cool. So maybe next year we could do that. Just go in for 2 days, and then we could get 2 RPGs in and do more things. Because it's not a huge area. There are lots of things to do, but also there's so many things on the schedule. It's like, how do you even narrow it down? And that's how I feel anytime I go to a board gaming convention.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you came, Kim.
Yeah, I would
cool
definitely do it again.
Yeah, totally. Well, next year.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't announced the dates yet, but it will probably be the same weekend.
Same as ending of March break.
Yeah.
We never do anything on March break anyway, so.
No.
It was a good little getaway.
Travel. Everybody travels, so bad time to travel. Okay. Anything else on Breakout Con?
No.
Aside from come to Breakout Con with us next year?
Yep, come to Toronto.
Cool. Should we jump into the dice bag?
Yeah.
The dice bag returns.
The dice bag.
So last episode, we had our friend Petrus on to talk about Lorcana, and there was one thing that we didn't quite touch on. Petrus mentioned it, and then we got off topic. We talked about the diversity of people playing Lorcana, but Petrus did want to mention that there's the theme of Disney has opened up a lot more women and girls and ladies in the competitive play space. So it's almost, I think, a 50-50 split of people playing Lorcana, women versus people who identify as women versus people who identify as men. And that's a lot different than most competitive games.
Yeah.
Like I go to HeroClix Worlds in Memphis, and there's like 400 people there, and there's like 5 girls. I'm like, hey, look, it's Emily and Asia and Sam and Christine and me. and that's pretty well it. Oh, Danielle was there. There were 6 of us this year. So there's not a lot of women, right, playing these games. But with Lorcana, there's quite a lot. And that's great. It's great to see women in gaming, because that's what we've been trying to encourage people to do here.
Yep.
So he also added in the comments on the YouTube that for the challenges, they do a top 128 if there's more than 1,024 players to get to the second day. That's still a lot of people. Right? That's like 10%. a little over 10% of the people.
Yeah. Could you imagine you're like
crazy.
tied for like 128 and you couldn't get in?
Oh my gosh, it would be awful. So, and then there was some conversation on our A Double and Dice Discord convo chat in the DM North TV Discord, which I did maybe solicit by saying, hello, podcast is out now, comments are open. Collector Rob jumped in and we did have some issues with the levels on the previous episode. Kim was louder and I was quieter and it was kind of hard to hear, but we had much better levels on this one. Collector Rob said it was a good chat about Lorcana. It makes him want to give Lorcana a go, but he can't start another one. He has to be happy with Star Wars Unlimited. And Jackalope Spam chimed in and said, yeah, it's hard to justify more than one TCG, not to mention the expense, and there's also the time commitment if you're trying to be competitive. Which I agree with. It's hard to do two competitive things. And, you know, even for myself, back when we had Dice Masters competitive events, like I had to decide, did I want to play Dice Masters or did I want to play HeroClix for my competitive events? And I ended up splitting my day that one year in Memphis. I did Dice Masters. I think I did Dice Masters Nationals, and I did HeroClix Team Sealed, and I didn't do the World Championship for Dice Masters because I couldn't do both because they were happening at the same time. So sometimes that's hard. Collector Rob agreed with Nick that it's definitely hard to do multiples, and he wants to do the Star Wars Unlimited tournament at the upcoming UK Games Expo in first weekend in June. But he also wants to do the Unmatched tournament, and then his son Harry wants to come with him. So now he's going to drop Star Wars Unlimited. But he said, luckily, there's lots of smaller format ones over the whole weekend, so it's not just the big competition. So, and his little guy's younger than yours, right, Kim? Harry?
Yeah, I think
5 or 6.
I think he's 6.
Yeah, I think he's about the same age as Nathan.
Yeah.
So, and then Nick said, you got to teach Harry how to play the games, then you have a tournament buddy to practice with. And I agree with this wholeheartedly. Get them in young if they're interested. If they're interested.
I didn't even know there was unmatched tournaments. That's interesting. I never even
There's
heard
tournaments
of that.
for everything. So, Nick says that his youngin wants to join and play Lorcana with him. They've got a bit before that happens, though, but they've made up a game with the puzzle cards from the back of the pack. They build the puzzle, stacking duplicates, and then he grabs a D6 that has colors on each side, and they take turns rolling the die and picking a stack of puzzle cards that match the color. The color match is very loose.
Like a matching game.
It's fun. It's creative, right? So, and then Rob said that was the plan. He might try introducing it to him this weekend, and Petrus agreed, yes, I know the feeling all too well of trying to justify more than one TCG because it becomes quite expensive. So a bit of a chat there, which was nice. So, and again, thanks again to Petrus for joining us.
Yeah,
and that was it for the dice bag.
And that's it.
Yeah. So, Breakout Con. It's a repeat. You'd go back.
Yeah, I'll go back.
We have not done our Lorcana playthrough yet, Kim.
No, we have not.
We said on the last episode that we might try and get a game in. So maybe we can fit something in over the next couple of weeks and give it a go. I feel like I have a better handle on the concepts and the rules after talking to Petrus.
This week I have to prep for possibly game mastering on Friday.
Well, I think Rob's good to run Neon Lords.
Yeah, I don't know what he wants to do. She needs to tell me now because I need to prep for this. So,
well, I think so. Dennis chimed in on our Friday night game and said he was good to play Neon Lords. So, why don't you? I would say message, but if you like, Rob probably will reply tomorrow. But I think he's ready to put Neon Lords in.
I was going to say we should just finish that one before moving into something new anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but Friday night role-playing is back on this week after last week where it was not because I had children to babysit. So,
not to sit on.
Not to sit on, to babysit. So, I mean, you know, when you're teasing them and they're lying on the couch with a blanket on top of them, like, oh, where's Nathan? I should sit here on top of this cozy blanket. Then the giggling starts, right?
My 9-year-old still does that.
Yeah. no, it was a good weekend hanging out with them. I was with them for a little over 24 hours, so not that I was counting. Let's just say I'm out of practice with the young kids for that much time. So anyway, all right. Well, I think that's all we have for today.
Yep.
Is there anything happening with that dice throne thing, Kim?
What dice throne?
The missions?
Oh, that is what we're playing on Saturday. So it'll be talked about at some point.
Cool. Well, I look forward to hearing about it.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this conversation, or even if you didn't, we'd love to hear what you thought about our conversation about Breakout Con, and if we can help you find a hotel to stay at next year and come to the food hall with us, chef's table, whatever it was called. And it was a great time. So we hope that you can make it out. Let us know what you thought. And you can send all of those thoughts to us in all the usual places, which includes sending us an email to tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. You can find us on Discord on our Discord channel, DM North TV, and join us in the A Double and Dice podcast convo channel there, like Collector Rob, Jackalope Spam, and Petrus did. You can also @at us on Discord. Kim is @SuperK. I am @JoStitch, JOCE Stitch. You can find us on our website, dm-north.com, where you can put a comment on our episode post. And you can find us on all the socials as DM North TV. And don't forget to join Kim and Matt playing board games most Saturday nights on the DM North TV YouTube and Twitch channels. So until next time, on A Double and Dice.